Hi everybody, I'm here to give you a few tips on keeping an art journal. If you've never heard of art journaling, you don't know what it is, where have you been? Everybody is doing it. I highly recommend you skip on over to Susie Blue Tube's channel right now and watch every single video of hers you can get a hold of. Fantastic. My first tip on keeping an art journal, oops, upside down, is to pre-prep and pre-gesso, if you like to do so, your pages. I made this book out of a old composition notebook that I had hanging around. I cut out the original signature block that was in it, and following the instructions on Journal Girl's video, how to make her easy peasy journal, I made this. And normally I don't pre-gesso my pages, but the file folders that I use to make the pages were recycled, and they're not the best quality. And so the paint that I like to use watercolor paint a lot, was really sinking into the paper and making it look really muddled. So what I've done is on this journal I will pre-gesso my pages. And what I do is I take gesso them completely, slap some wax paper between them, move on until I get about 4 or 5 pages, and then kind of let it sit for a minute, and then once it's set for a minute I rip all the wax paper off in between them, and I lay the book open and slap the pages like this so the air can get in between them, and let it dry for a couple hours. Now, the thing about gesso that I didn't like is that sometimes when I use it, the white of the gesso would mix with the liquid of the paint that I was using. The key to that, if you don't want that to happen, is to really let the pages dry thoroughly, and that means not just wait till it's dry to the touch, but wait till it's dry, and that usually can take an hour to a couple hours. I usually do it at night and let it dry overnight, and then that way I've got completely dry gessoed pages, and that way when I put wet medium over top of it, it's not going to mix with the gesso. The other thing is after you get your pages pre-gessoed, is to pre-paint them or prep your pages. Like here you'll see I've got just slapped down some regular old cheap craft paint. You can get at Walmart, you can get it at Michael's, you can get it at any craft store, anywhere. Like the 99 cent to even cheaper I found them. Cheap craft paint works just fine. It's not the greatest quality of paint usually, so you'll want to get a whole lot of colors for a good palette, because it doesn't really mix that well. You can mix them, but it doesn't really, I don't think it mixes that well. Not as well as you would get like real fluid acrylic paint and, you know, in a few colors and mix it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just slap it on, mess it up, 2 or 3 colors, whatever. Another thing, when I first started art journaling, I really loved watercolors. Watercolor cakes, watercolor tubes, watercolor pencils, crayons, watercolor everything. I didn't really like acrylics. I found them hard to use and just sticky and blah. So I recommend, if you're going to start off with, starting off with watercolor. It's an easy medium to use. They're cheap. You can get the cheap, decent color sets. Buy them. I think they're great. And actually we recommend, I do both now. I've learned a lot about acrylics. So it's okay to do both. I do usually mix the two. Like this is pre-gessoed page with, I painted this side pink with regular cheap acrylic, and then I took this page and I mushed it together while this paint was still wet, and then I took a watercolor crayon and I did the border and then washed it out so that it had that cool fading effect. I do recommend that you write in your art journal. I mean, it's good to have pages that don't have writing, but this is a journal, and you need to, if you want to write in it. To me, it's not a journal unless you're writing in it. If you're not writing in it, then it's a sketchbook. You could have an artist book where it's both writing and all that. There's so many different things you could do. So, you know, do whatever. But to me, a journal should have some writing in it. So, write in your journal. What I do with the lines is I usually will draw the lines in and then write on it, or I'll draw boxes and make lists out of the boxes. So, and write everything in your journal. Ooh, my hair looks funny. Write everything in your journal. Don't be afraid to write stuff, even if you're showing, you know, pictures of it out there, YouTube or Flickr or however you put your pictures out there. Don't be afraid to write your real feelings. If it's something personal, Photoshop it, blur it out, fine. But don't feel you need to keep anything hidden. This is your journal. Make it personal, make it you. If your pages are just colored, washed, and then written over, fine, that's great. I think that, to me, I think some of those are the best pages to me, are just pages that are really simple with writing on them. I love those pages. I really like the layered pages too, but I can't find a page, hang on, a whole lot of those. Where's that page? But I love the way they look. So don't be afraid to layer it up, and don't be afraid to write on pages and then paint over it. If you're out and about and you need to write something down, write it down and then paint right over it. Who says you can't? There's no rules to this. Well, okay, the only really rule I have is that you should date your entries. If you're going to be writing in it, date your entries. You're going to regret not dating them later. I used to keep journal after journal of written journals where I never dated stuff, and I really regret that now. Like high school journals, I don't know what day that was, I don't know what even year this was, so I have no point of reference, although I can usually guess, okay, this is probably like my sophomore year. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I talk real fast. I am a girl who was born in Wyoming but grew up on the road, and my family's predominantly Southern. You would think I would talk slow, but the only way to get heard in my family is to talk this fast. So, anyway, my rules are prep your pages, pre-paint your pages, and date all your entries. Date them. You won't regret it. And don't be afraid to collage. If you can't draw, then don't draw, but don't be afraid to collage. Don't be afraid to draw. Don't be afraid to write your true feelings. Have fun with it. And if you're not having fun, take a break from it. Find something else that's fun. You'll never know. Anyway, my video is getting kind of long, and I really didn't intend to that, and I'm rambling. So I'm going to stop now, and see you guys later.